there is tons of interesting information to cover right now that you have to know, or else it could cost you games in ranked and you won't be better prepared for the future. It turns out there's no first shot accuracy in Valorant, which is extremely important for you to know, so we're going to break down that. We got new rank leaks, new character leaks, we got the Pro Sense and mouses for every single pro player, new information about deathmatch, and everything coming together for the brand new release coming soon in August. So without further ado, let's jump into this comprehensive news roundup. But before we jump into it, smash that beautiful subscribe button. I mean, it's just looking at you. Come on, just smash it. What does it cost you? It costs you nothing, but it puts a smile on my face. So do me a huge solid and smash that right now. But enough talking, let's get started. So the first thing is, there's no first shot accuracy. And yes, everyone's like, no first shot accuracy? What do you mean there's no first shot accuracy? And yeah, it might be a little crazy, but with this new patch 1.04, we got some interesting stats about the Vandal and the Phantom, and it turns out that there is a first bullet inaccuracy, and it's different for the Vandal versus the Phantom, and it's also different aiming down the sight or not aiming down the sight. Now, looking at the Phantom, it had a bullet inaccuracy of 0.2, and an ADS first bullet inaccuracy of 0.11, and a Vandal had a bullet inaccuracy of 0.25, and a first bullet inaccuracy aiming down the sight of 0.157. Now, the first thing you got to think about is this was not told to us before. This is new information we've never heard, and there are tons of problems with this. But before we get into those problems, let's talk about the differences, the fact that there are differences between the Phantom and the Vandal. Every single time we've ever given a in-depth gun versus gun or gun tier list or anything like that, we never knew this information. Now, a lot of us just thought that the Phantom just felt better, and this is exactly why. The Phantom actually has less bullet inaccuracy. Even if it's marginal, that is why for a lot of us, it just felt slightly better, because having a bullet inaccuracy on the first shot could be a huge deal, because after that, then all of a sudden the recoil kicks in, and if you miss that first bullet just due to this bullet inaccuracy, and then the recoil ramps up and you just keep missing and missing and missing, it can feel like a terrible gun when that first bullet, if it was 100% accurate, actually would have hit the head, which is definitely frustrating to say the least. Now, on Reddit, there was actually a post where someone decided to test out the Vandal for 50 meters up against the trading bots, and out of 20 shots, only 9 of them hit, which is actually crazy. I mean, only about half of them hit. That is absolutely nuts, because here's what this change actually does, and this is the bottom line that you need to understand. This replaces skill with RNG. This equalizes the skill from the highest skill level to the lowest skill level. Now, you might not understand what this means, so let me break it down for you. RNG stands for random number generator, and what that is a randomness element into your games. You see this a lot in card games like Hearthstone, where you roll the dice between 1 and 6, and depending on what the dice hits, you get a certain effect. Now, imagine an extreme example of this. When you're walking around with the Marshal, every time you fired at someone, it did a random 1 and 100 damage. It would do either 1 damage or somewhere in between 1 and 100 damage. Now, some of the time you're going to just kill someone instantly, and some of the time you're just not going to do any damage. So this would add a randomness aspect, and that means you could hypothetically be better than the other person, but still lose the matchup if they get better RNG. And that's what this does, and this is the problem, because Valorant claims to be a competitive game, but this ruins competitive integrity. In my opinion, RNG has no place in a game like Valorant. Save that for Fortnite, save that for Hearthstone. It has no place here, because imagine this scenario in a competitive game. Imagine it's a 1v1, Drone versus Brax, and it's the finals, right? Drone flies around the corner and Brax is ready for them, and they both click each other right in the head, right? But because of the RNG aspect, Brax actually pulled the trigger a second later, hit the shot, but Drone, who pulled the trigger a second sooner, because of this 0.2 bullet inaccuracy on his Phantom, he actually missed the headshot, costing him the entire tournament. Now, this is like a really outlandish example, right? But the fact of the matter is, why does this exist? What is the point of replacing skill with RNG? Why not just make the first shot accuracy true 100% of the time, always hit? I don't think this has a place at all, and RNG doesn't have a place in Valorant in my opinion. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think they should just get rid of this altogether? Do you think they should bump it up because getting clicked in the head is unfair? I don't know. Just let me know in the comments down below. Now, the next story we have for you is actually a leak. This is a new ranked leak, and we talked about in the last patch that the rank system would probably change because the lead developer, the guy who ran the entire rank system, he was like the visionary director or whatever, he's no longer working for Riot because he quote unquote left the company, but here is the new ranks that have gotten leaked, and you can see how they look a little bit different. You see an up, you see a down, you see different levels or tiers, you see level 1 through 5. So I think that this is interesting, and here's the reason why. So regardless of what they look like, because I don't really care, the fact that there is level 1 through 5 is cool, because right now there's level 1 through 3, and I think that having more levels means that you'll more accurately know where you are, because you're gonna move more. Instead of having a game where you're like, you win a game, 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 and then you rank up, now you're gonna win 2, win 3, win 4. It's just more steps, and honestly, I would rather just see a number. Like, why not just give us an actual number that we could see move up, and there's like a certain threshold for a rank. But this is definitely better than the old system, so even if it doesn't look pretty right now, this is just a leak. It's probably gonna look prettier later, but I do like having at least more levels, even if I think there should just be more levels, like 10 plus, or just have a number altogether. But that is up to your personal interpretation. Now, the next thing on the map split, there is a Killjoy leak. You can see Killjoy right here, and I'm not entirely sure. I think that this is a female-based character. No idea. That's just what it seems like first glance. And a lot of the information about Killjoy is unknown, but I'm incredibly excited about a new hero. And we know right now that the actual release date is around August 4th, and we're going to be getting a new hero right around then with the new act release. So that is incredibly exciting. We get a new agent already, and I'm hoping that it's going to be something really cool that mixes up the meta, but we'll have to wait and see. Definitely speculate what that character's ultimate is in the comments down below, and I want to hear your actual speculation and see if you are right. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is the pro sensitivities for all the top players right now. This is talking about the pro sensitivities and the mouse/mouse pad for a lot of different heroes. So you can actually see a lot of the sensitivities right here, which is centimeters per 360. You can look at Shroud, Tense, Asu, Brax. There's players all over the place. Now, the average is about 52.9, and if you look closely, Brax has the absolute highest with 86.68, which is a really, really high sensitivity. I mean, that is crazy high. And if you look at the lowest, I believe the lowest is actually Hiko at 2.268. You know, Hiko's a boomer just like me. He has to, you know, lower that down so he can still hit those shots. So no, all joking aside, Hiko, sorry, if you see this, I'm sorry, but you know, I gotta roast you, man. I gotta roast you with me. I mean, anyways, but some more interesting stuff about this. We gotta look at the mouse pads and the mouses. It seems like the majority of people using the mouse is all using the Logitech G640. Seems like a very popular mouse pad, and a lot of them are going with the Logitech G Pro wireless. Now, something to note is that a lot of these players are actually sponsored by Logitech. That doesn't mean it's a bad mouse, however. The Logitech G Pro wireless is one of the best mouses on the market, but they do influence some of these with their sponsorship. So just keep that in mind before you buy it. It is a $150 mouse, and I do think that there are lots of mouses that can easily compete with the Logitech G Pro wireless for a lot less price, especially if you're willing to go wired. And you can see some of them here. That's like the Final mouse. I personally like the Glorious, but there's also the Zowie S2, the Zowie S1. There's a lot of different mouses you could see here, but the majority seem to be Logitech, which is interesting to say the least. So for the next thing, we gotta talk about some leaks about the coding, and really interesting. If you look into this coding, there's stuff about deathmatch. It says deathmatch strings, and then it says game/game mode/deathmatch/deathmatch strings. This looks to be an indication that we're gonna get a deathmatch mode soon, and I'm incredibly ecstatic about this. I mean, I don't think that Spike Rush is good enough to be a deathmatch replacement, especially we're just trying to practice our gunplay, right? We don't want to have to die and wait. We want to be able to go in and go in and go in. And honestly, if it was a free-for-all deathmatch, that would be phenomenal. I would absolutely love that. And hopefully, if it's not a free-for-all deathmatch, we could go into a lobby and we could make our own just with some friends, just have like a free-for-all. But I do think that for a deathmatch game mode, it would be cool if we had a special map for it, right? Why don't they have like a really close range special map? They have a lot of them in CSGO, maybe ones that are made for free-for-all or dueling or anything like that. I would love to see a map specifically for deathmatch, or maybe even map editor tools. That would be phenomenal. I don't think we're gonna get that anytime soon, but map editor tools would be absolutely amazing in a game like Valorant. If we could really customize, make our own maps, make our own modes, have deathmatch, have practice ranges, all these things could just help us be better players or anything like that. Now, before we end, we got to talk about some of the things that we still need in Valorant, things that are going to push it over the edge, things that I think every single one of us can agree that we need. One thing is, I am still going to say it now, and I still agree with this. I don't care what their reasoning is behind the scenes. I still think that we need to have a ranked system where you have solos and duos, go against 5 stacks. I don't like the fact that we can go up against a 5 stack, and even if behind the scenes they make it so that it's a percentile even, that doesn't mean that the games are gonna feel any bit fair. Maybe because of how much they stack on your team, if the enemy team hasn't really practiced or prepared, you're just gonna stomp them, right? And then if the enemy team has and they scrim consistently and they stomp you, sure, you stomp one game, you get stomped the next game, that's 50-50, it's balanced, right? No, it's not balanced, and I personally agree with the sentiment that we should not have any sort of solo queue versus a stacked team. Now, the next thing we gotta talk about, of course, is changes to the op meta. Now, we're gonna have to see how this new character actually interacts with ops, because she could change the whole layout, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see tons of different changes to the ops, maybe a nerf to the ops. I know that we're expecting nerfs to Sage coming soon, so we'll have to wait and see. Honestly, if a lot of the stall characters like Sage become a lot weaker, then perhaps a rush strategy is the counter to ops, because there's not as much stall. So we're gonna have to wait and see how things shake out in that department. Now, the last thing that I think that we 100% need is we need a video viewer, a match viewer. I want to be able to look at my replays. I want to be able to look at the replays of other people, and I'm sure you do too. You could do self VODs for content creation, for anything like that. We need a video viewer. We need a game viewer. It would be really, really cool. It'd be cool for scrim teams. It'd be cool for personal VOD review. So many applications, and I think it's one of the biggest priority that Riot should have right now is getting that right away. Anyways, do me a favor and smash that delicious sub button and tell me what you think should be added to the game right now. Is there any big feature that you think Valorant needs in order to be top tier? A new map, new mode, new anything that I said? Definitely let me know in the comments down below. But that's all I got for you today. I'm Coach Mills, and until next time,